Picture this. You're in front of your latest prospect, closing the biggest deal of your life. Your pitch decks were perfect. Your scripts, flawless. And when the time came to answer the golden question of, are you ready to move forward? Nothing happened. For everyone who loves sales, this is their worst nightmare. But fear not, because in this podcast, we're unraveling the enigma behind those missed opportunities. From appointments that evaporate to presentations that felt like a Broadway show but ended in awkward silence, we're dissecting it all. Welcome to Love Your Sales.
This podcast is presented by GenHead. GenHead leverages AI so small and medium-sized businesses can find their ideal clients to make more sales. Other companies talk about AI, but we are using it every day to drive down marketing costs and increase revenue. Learn more at genhead.com. That's genhead.com.
Welcome to another episode of Love Your Sales. Today, I am joined by Lorenz with Top Floor Mentoring. Lorenz, she is the trusted advisor for small businesses with an incredible 35-year journey supporting entrepreneurs. Laura isn't just a business counselor, she is a true champion for dream chasers and business builders. I love that. Her passion, helping passionate people transform their business ideas into thriving realities. Having walked the entrepreneurial path herself as a business owner, Laura brings this wonderful blend of professional expertise and heartfelt understanding to everything she does. Why don't you share with me anything that I didn't include?
Lovely bio.
Yes, yes. So, tell me a little bit more about what Top Floor Mentoring is.
Sure. So what I do is I work with solopreneurs, small business owners, in actually helping them get to be where they want to be. I find that when you have help, which I have always had somebody in my corner that wasn't an employee or anything, when you get help and people can see from the outside looking in, it is amazing the things that you can accomplish, and someone to help you actually step over the hurdles that you go through in business and in life. Someone there cheering you on when things are good. That's pretty much in a nutshell what I do, but I do build these very big roadmaps. So a lot of people will set goals, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they are. And even some of them are SMART goals, but they never seem to get to be where they want to go. And there are a lot of reasons for it. The biggest one is they don't dig deep enough into the why of their goals, so that on hard days, when you are stumbling or a client that you loved quits or something like that, you go back to, but this is why I'm doing what I'm doing and why I love it, right?
Right.
So that's the beginning of the roadmap, is really understanding that why. Because a lot of times people will set goals that they think they should be achieving, right? And when they get into the why, they can't figure out why they think that. So then don't make it be a goal, right? Let's look at ones that are important to you. What is your why in life or your why in business? And then go from there.
That is really very interesting, because you are absolutely correct. And that, I think, gets lost sometimes, from the, I'm going to start my own business to the, okay, now I'm in the thick of it and I'm stressed out, and we lose, speaking obviously as an entrepreneur, we lose sight of why we began it. And when you lose sight of that, all of a sudden, all of that overwhelm creeps in.
It does.
and you're like, oh my, what am I doing? Why am I doing this?
Yep. Everybody thinks it's so cool to build a business. People coming from the corporate world are like, oh, I'm just going to go out and start my own business. Well, there's a lot of heartache in owning your own business. There's a lot of hours. There's a lot of just, oh, but if you have that why and you really understand why you're doing what you're doing, it helps you get a better mindset looking back at it and you can go from I'm overwhelmed and I can't stand it and I have too many hats and I don't know what to do to, okay, you know what? Here's my big why. Whether it's your children or trips or, just whatever you're doing. If you can have even a picture of that on your desk after a bad call, you can look at it and go, oh, yeah, here we are.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So when you start working with somebody, um, do they often know or remember? And well, first let's back up a little bit. When do you typically engage with somebody? Are they brand new entrepreneurs? Are they into their business a year, 5 years, 20 years? Where?
Usually about 2 years. I love brand new entrepreneurs, but they need to work through all the things they want to try first. So usually people come to me when they're stuck, like they're trying to scale or they just want to do this one thing that they haven't been able to attain, and that's where we'll start.
Interesting. Okay. So at that point, do they remember the why?
No, not their deep why. There's always like well, I hated working for this company and I wanted to do it on my own, or I could do it better than the boss. All of those kinds of things are the superficial why, right?
Yep.
But you have to dig really, really deep to understand what is keep getting you up out of bed every day to come and do this, because it's not an easy thing.
And so where do you start, working with somebody on bringing them back down? I mean, and I'm going to use this back down to earth, really, on and helping them really ground themselves in that why.
Well, you start with, we talk about their original why and the one that they have superficially. And I keep going, but why did you think you could do that? But why did you? But why? Nobody ever digs much past the third why, because it's like, this is really hard. I can't figure it out. But if you ask it enough and how does this impact you? All of those kinds of things, you will get back to the real reason. For me, I have a beautiful life. I love helping people. I have a passion for that. But my real why, to be honest with you, was my husband has Parkinson's and he loves F1 racing. And so I'm working on earning enough money to spend a year traveling the circuit with him before he can't. So, and that's a huge why, because I adore my husband. I've been married 34 years and I want to make him happy, right? As
Yeah.
along with the rest of the world, but that's my real why. That's what keeps me going.
So what I'm hearing is that the why can change.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. When you start a business, there's so many reasons you started. Part of it is you want to prove to yourself that you can do it. So you're proud of yourself and those kinds of things. But as you go, that starts to kind of leave a little in your head.
Hmm.
And, and you're like, okay, I'm here and now I'm in the thick of things. What is making me get up every day for this business? And it's got to come back for the passion of what you do, right? Why
Right.
why do you do this? Why does this make you happy?
Very interesting. So now I'm going to hit you with some hard ones here
Oh,
because
good.
so obviously this is a sales podcast. And so business owners start their business
Mhm.
usually because they have a unique superpower or skill in what they understand, right? I'm going to go
Yes.
and sell this widget because I
Mhm.
really understand this industry. I know how to get this brand new product, widget, whatever it might be, out to market.
Hmm.
Where we have a tendency to struggle, fall short, or even get overwhelmed is doing the thing. Well, I know that I get overwhelmed when I try to do my accounting.
I get that. I agree and I hate it.
I hate my so that's the point of contention for me in my business is I don't know how to do this. When I try to do it, I become overwhelmed. That's where business owners don't realize when they start their business, you are now your salesperson, you are your accountant, you are your admin, you are your everything.
Yep. Yep. All those hats and more. The marketing
Right.
person, I mean, it's
Right.
all of it.
Sometimes I want to take those hats and just throw them in a closet and be like, okay, no more. I just want to do this. So, do you help business owners on figuring out how do we do this? Like,
Hmm.
how do we do the sales part? How do we do this? What is the answer to that? Especially in the sales. Like,
Right.
no sales, no business.
Well, right. I mean, you have to really look at because I know for my own self and other people that I work with, we when we find ourselves doing all of those kinds of things, you do get overwhelmed. And what you need to do is look at what is it that you love? What is it that you hate but have to do? Right? Like the accounting. Um, and then what are things that you're doing that are just a huge time waster, right? So
Right.
a lot of times what I'll have people do is track their time in half an hour increments to see what is it that they are doing and putting the most time into. And
Right.
then look at the love, the love, the I got to do it and what can I get rid of? And then we start looking at putting together time management. Like for me, Mondays and Fridays usually are my day to work on my business instead of in my business. So, that's when I would say, okay, knuckle down, do your accounting, send out your invoices. Let's work. And then, part of it can be what am I doing for my marketing this week? Let's work on that, those kinds of things. So if you time block, I mean, it doesn't have to be at full days. It can be hours in the day. It just, however your flow works for you,
Hmm.
it becomes more manageable. And as you look at that list of what can I get rid of and stop doing, if you catch yourself doing it, stop. I mean, my problem in life is I love to read people's stuff on LinkedIn. So I'm sucked in for hours. I'm like, wait, 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 I'm supposed to be responding to comments. Um,
Right.
Anyways, but yeah, I even color code my calendar, which is ridiculous, but then it's tracking how much time I'm spending
Right.
all week on each particular thing. But
Mhm.
it's part of it is a discipline. And you've got to, on those Mondays and Fridays that I do, if someone calls and says they absolutely want to talk to me, if they're a prospect, I will find a way to speak to them. But if it's just a networking call or somebody wants to chit chat, I'm like, no, here's the times that I have set aside for that.
Right.
Let's put you there. So that was a long-winded answer to your question.
No, but it's a really good answer because we as human beings have a tendency to migrate to what we like to do
Hmm.
and fail. I don't want to say fail. That's not the right word. Um, Kind of forget or push aside the things that we don't necessarily like to do. And not everybody likes to do sales.
Hmm.
But the problem with that is that if you're not selling at some point, now I'm not speaking, well, if you're a business that's been in business for about 2 years, then you're probably not at a point yet where you're able to rely on 100% referrals or 100% organic or
Right.
100%. You still have to be actively selling.
Yes.
And that means having the discipline to pick up the phone and make those cold calls,
Yep.
to pick up the phone and tap into some of those referral sources that you have that of people who are like, yeah, I definitely will refer somebody if I know somebody. But they're not always thinking about you. So you
No.
still have to do that networking,
Yes.
cultivate
Yes.
those relationships,
Yeah.
Go on LinkedIn, reply to those comments, not get sucked into that
Yeah.
next video of,
Thank you,
or,
Leighann. I won't anymore. No.
and everybody is guilt. Social media is I mean, it's so easy to get sucked in.
It is. It is.
It is on every time I go on Facebook, I get sucked into some like, oh, watch this hack video. And then it's like 20 minutes later, I'm like, what am I doing?
I have found, and I recommend this to all of my clients and you who are listening, get a timer, right? And if you have blocked your time out, it's like, okay, I have an hour to do this. And if I find myself at the end of the hour, it goes ding and you're still there messing around, you're like, oh God, I got to get back to what I was doing, right? Yeah,
Right.
if it's social media, it's like I put on a 15-minute timer if I think about it, and I really should do it more often because if I'm
Right.
spending more than 15 minutes not commenting and just reading and checking things out, then it's a waste of my time. And
Right.
as a business owner and a solopreneur, you can't afford to not do the one thing that is going to make you money. I mean, you just can't.
Absolutely. I have a timer, especially it's too easy to get so hyper focused on something and have everything else around you just wash away.
Mhm.
To the point I've missed my daughter at the bus stop because I'm like, I'll look at the clock and be like, okay, I've got 5 minutes, then I've got to go get my daughter. And then all of the sudden, my daughter's standing at the front door, like, Mommy, why didn't you meet me at the bus stop? And I'm like, oh my God. I now have a timer every day that goes off saying, get up, get your butt out of your chair and go get your daughter.
There you go. Yep. And
Because,
it's not wrong that you need that because we do get sucked into things.
mhm,
And we have to remember, I'll definitely do that. Like when I'm writing my content for marketing, I get into it and all of a sudden I'll look up and I'm like, oh my God, I missed a call that I was supposed to make. Right. And then I'm calling, apologizing, and everything starts going. So
right.
yes,
It,
having a timer is an important thing.
yeah, apps. And I have, I'm afraid to say her name. She's going to start talking to me. I have Alexa at my desk. Okay, she didn't talk. That where I can easily say put a 10-minute timer on,
Yeah.
and then it goes off. And again, the AI world makes it really, really easy for us to quickly do a variety of things. And I've been talking to other people where all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, that's my Alexa timer going off," and I'm like, see how much, I mean, and again, if people are not users of that, if they're users of Google or whatever it might be, it's really simple nowadays to just quickly put it, you got your cell
Yeah.
phone sitting, put a
Mhm.
timer on,
Yep.
allowing you to time block in today's world with all the boops and blings and everything else that's going off, the hacker videos,
Mm.
life hack videos. That's
Yeah.
that's those are the ones that get me sucked in, where I'm like, oh wow, I could make an egg like that.
Yeah.
That much easier. Wow, that's really cool. Some people, it's the cat videos or the
Yep.
dog videos or whatever it is. I always, when I work with a client, I always talk about revenue generating tasks.
Mhm.
You can't do it for 8 hours a day,
Nope.
but doing it for an hour a day and then in the morning, an hour a day in the afternoon on the days that you have chosen for your sales activities, if you can get hyper focused and break those hours up, even if it's those hard ones where you're like, okay, I'm only going to do this for a half an hour a day or a
Mhm.
half an hour in the morning, a half an hour in the afternoon, because it's just those things that are really hard for you. If you
Mhm.
can stay focused on those revenue generating tasks for a half an hour at a time, fine.
Yep.
Do it for
I
a half an hour.
Huge. Huge. And we put that kind of thing in the roadmap, right? That I build. It's like
Mhm.
we start with here's my big hairy fat hairy goal that I really want to achieve. Well, now let's walk our way back to what kinds of things do you need to be doing to actually achieve this on a monthly basis, on a weekly basis, and on a daily basis. Great, let's plug that into the calendar, right? So all of what we're talking about, if you break your goals down into those small bite-sized pieces for the week, you can attain crazy things as long as you've time blocked. What
I,
you're going to do.
I love that. So starting with that big gigantic goal,
Hmm.
and then you help people break that down
Yep.
into those.
Edible bites. So, because nobody can eat an elephant all at once, right?
Well, I've seen plenty of people try and fail.
And then be so disappointed. The other thing that I always tell people is when we're putting milestones into this is just for us to like keep working at it. But if you don't get it and you're 80% there, don't beat yourself up, right?
Right.
You made 80% of it, and now let's just move the milestone out a little bit and
Mhm.
get to where you wanted to be. Because I find people, if you don't hit that goal on the day that you're gonna supposed to hit the goal, um, get it, then it's not important anymore, and I'm gonna do something else because I failed and I don't want to look at it. It's like, but no, the date that we set wasn't achievable. We thought it was, but based
Right.
on what's been going on every day, it wasn't. So let's move it a little more, and keep working.
Right. Very interesting. And you're right. It's I've done that where it's like, okay, by this date I'm going to do this, and then when that passes, it's like, oh, okay, well, guess that's over.
Yeah,
But
because I didn't meet my
six,
goals.
but success is not. It's not a destination.
No, no, and we are not running, the 1 mile dash. This is a marathon running a business, right? I mean, it's a
Yeah.
forever thing. So you can't, it's hard, I think, sometimes for salespeople who work for corporations that have deadlines and quotas and things like that. I mean, I get that then they did not achieve the goal that their boss set out for them.
Right.
But, then you got to start looking at if I'm consistently not hitting my targets, am I doing the right thing? Right?
Right. Yes. And as a sales professional who has coached and worked with other sales professionals um, throughout my entire career, there are clear flags that go off
Hmm.
in salespeople when you go, okay, this person is not going to hit their quota, their goals, especially and especially when I was mentoring younger salespeople, I could see the writing on the wall far, far before they could even see the writing on the wall that they were not going to meet, the expectations that were set for them.
Hmm.
And sometimes you're even too close to it, especially being a newer salesperson. You'll be so close, you're too close to it, being that it's yourself, that you're not going to meet it. And trying to explain to them like, hey, I understand that you feel that you're busy. You're busy all the time, but being busy is not the same as being productive.
Exactly, exactly. And this society, we're also prone to, "Oh, I'm busy all the time, right? Well,
Right.
because you can fill your day with whatever you want and you're busy, but that doesn't, again, it goes back to what's revenue generating for an entrepreneur, for a salesperson that works at a company. It's all the same thing.
Right.
What's making the money? And if it's not, don't do it. Just
Right.
stop doing what you're doing. I'm such a huge fan of the one thing. I got a lot of what I work with is it's a book called The One Thing, and that's your big goal. And that's where every day you look and you say, what 3 things can I do today to move myself forward to achieve that goal?
Right.
Do those things first. Then
Abs-
look at all of the other hats that you're wearing and go, God, I hate this accounting, but it's got to be done, right?
right. Yeah, absolutely. And as long as you're ticking off those boxes of what has to be done in
Hmm.
order to move, you'll continue to inch forward. Understanding, just for the audience here, understanding that while you may be taking great strides forward, there will always be a time where you may take a step or two back because
Hmm.
that is the nature of the beast.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
I and then I've seen that in my own business. I've been in business now 2.5 years, and I have seen huge strides forward. And I actually made the strategic decision to take a gigantic step back because I didn't like where the ship was was sailing off to. In fact, I felt like I was in the dinghy, following behind the ship, and I was going, wait a second, why is my business leaving without me? I'm supposed to be running it. Why is it running me?
Yep. That's the nice thing about being an entrepreneur is when you can start seeing those kind of things, you're flexible enough that you can go, this was a great idea at the time, but now that I'm in it and I'm doing it, I don't really like the way it's working out. So let's stop and look at where the boat really is supposed to be going. And that goes back to the whys and all of that. So
Yes. Yes. I've been there. I've absolutely been there.
we all have. There's
Right.
no doubt. You have this brilliant idea of how you're going to sell your business, right? And sell who you are in your business and why people should work with you. And what we forgot to do is actually go out there and do some audience research to see if even anything they want, right?
Well, yeah, I got to a point where, I was selling it all, but, going, wait, how am I executing on all of this?
Mhm.
Like, yeah. So,
Yeah. But
yeah,
that's also a good place to be in because if you're really getting the sales and you can't execute on all of it, that's the time to start looking for somebody to take the crap that you hate doing off of your plate, right?
eh,
So time for a VA, time to get a bookkeeper, something, right?
right, right. And I actually just recently when I had a whole bunch of contractors. I just recently ended all of their assignment and reverted back to just me, and I am so much more free.
It's hard. I my first business that I built with a partner. It was a marketing consultancy when we started, right? So we were just guiding people on how to do their strategy and what kinds of things they should be doing to sell their business or to sell whatever they have, not sell the business. Um, and that was great, except for we'd build these great plans for them and hand them over, and nobody do any of it, right? Because we've got so many hats on that we can't
Right.
and marketing seems like the last thing you care about, right?
Mhm.
So as we looked in our business, we said it's time to pivot this business. We can still be doing all the strategic work with our clients, but we need to also be able to do the work for our clients. So after 10 years, we had 10 employees, we had website builders and bloggers and the whole thing. So you can grow a business and pivot. And we used to, I laughed because we said every 6 months we'd blow the business up and try something different. So it's there's a lot of that stuff. And that brings me back, however, to the point that I said in the beginning is it's so much easier when you have a mentor or a coach or a consultant that's looking at your business and helping you see that it's time to pivot, right?
And to your point, going back to you're so close to your own business, whether you are a single solopreneur or you are a 20-person, 50-person company and you are still privately owned,
Hmm.
you're so close to it that you often cannot see the holes.
Hmm.
That
Go ahead. Sorry. I
and
didn't.
I was going to say that having somebody from the outside come in and do that true analysis, not only of you, of why are you doing this?
Mhm.
Why are why do you want to continue to go down this path? Are you happy? Um,
How's it working for you?
right, how's it working for right? But to do, really have somebody and then have somebody really do an assessment and look under the hood of your business.
Mhm.
How is it going? Are you getting out of it what you wanted to get out of it? Um, and I think that people are finally starting to understand that because we've had since I've been in the professional industry, and I'm not going to tell you how long because that dates me. Um,
I trust I've been in longer, but
yeah,
anyway.
no, I've my 20 years, 20 plus years now. When I started, we didn't have coaches, we didn't have advisors, we didn't have, consultants who were there to assist you along the path.
Mhm.
And over the last 10 years, has it been 10 now?
Yes, it has,
It's been about,
sadly.
yeah.
Time flies.
It's so over the last 10 years, we've had the rise of, the coaches, we've had the rise of the advisors who are experienced. They come from, the world of either entrepreneurship, or they come from working at very large corporations where they've been in the thick of it. They've seen the errors of other businesses. They've seen the success of other businesses, and just understand, to anybody who's listening to this, these are things that you need to make sure that when you're hiring an advisor or a coach, you're vetting them, because unfortunately in today's world, a lot of people are popping up saying that they are advisors or coaches.
Yeah, I have to laugh when I look at a 20-year-old who's saying, I'm a life coach. I'm like, how can you be a life coach? You haven't lived even a third of your life.
Yeah, you're a baby.
Exactly. Anyways, I digress on that.
No, no, and I agree. You may, that life coach, that 20-year-old could maybe be, or that 25-year-old could maybe be a life coach to those who are younger.
Mhm.
But don't tell me that you're going to come and be a life coach to my 44-year-old,
Yeah.
to me who's 44. I've got over 20 years on you.
Yep. Yep. I think I always tell people, look for the gray-haired people that are offering you advice, because they've been there, they've done that, they've seen it. I mean, this is my third business, so I've definitely seen that, and I've been helping businesses for, yeah, I got you,
Right.
35
Yeah,
or 30
but
plus
Laura,
years.
you don't understand you don't understand me. You don't talk like me. I'm 20. I want somebody who's, gonna, it's like, well, yeah, but who's gonna help you in the political realm that exists right now in the corporate world,
Hmm.
not a 25-year-old.
No. Mm-mm.
So, and so when I, to the audience, make sure that you're vetting the person.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Highly recommend that.
Right.
And you have to go with somebody that you feel good working with,
Mhm.
because that person is going to tell you a lot of things about you that you're not going to like to hear,
Right.
right? And
And
so
and you're going to pay them for it. They're
it's
going to
great. No, but it's the truth. And that goes back to what you were saying about we're so tunneled. My best analogy there is you're in a jar and you can't read the outside label, right?
Right.
You can't.
Right.
Not
Yeah,
by yourself, because you're in the
absolutely.
jar.
And speaking from, being a sales consultant, I've had some of the most brilliant people in the world, come to me with products and say, I just can't, like, this is a really good product. I just can't seem to get people to understand, what it is, and they won't buy. And I'm like, okay, let's talk about this. And then give me your 30-second pitch. Give me your, present a proposal to me. And I go, oh, I know why. And they're like, well, what do you mean? And I'm like, you're explaining this as if I'm already, like, as if I already know who you are and what you do. And
Right.
they're like, well, what do you mean? And I'm like, you are so close to it that you assume that people know, like, this piece, and this piece. I'm like, you're completely breezing over the, the base of what
Mhm,
this is. And then they go, oh. And it's like, again, you're so close to it because you
mhm.
built it.
Right.
And they're like,
Agreed.
yeah,
Agreed. I find so many people, if you're on LinkedIn enough, you're getting pitched every day by people, right? And I have to laugh. I will actually connect with people whose sales pitches I think are good, even if I don't intend to buy
right.
from them, because they get it, you know?
Yep.
These other people, they sell on features, they sell on benefits. They don't understand why I need to have them. Why my life will be so much better if I just buy the widget or the service.
Right.
So what are you in it for? I mean, you have to understand people are looking for what's the value, what's in it for me,
Right.
not
Right.
how great the product is because it has this bell and this whistle.
Right. I I have people who sell me on, you know, hey, we can schedule 10 appointments for you a month and get you, and I'm like, that's what I do.
I know, I'm like, hello, did you not notice that this is what I do? We used to laugh about that because we'd have people, when I had my marketing agency, pick up the phone and say, I've been looking at your website and I think that I can help you. I'm like, we build websites.
Right. Right. I've had
You
people
cannot
say,
see.
no, I've actually had people go, that your website, could really use some help. And I'm like, oh, so you're going to start by insulting me before
Yeah.
you try to.
Yeah. And I even love it. 10 years ago, 20 years ago, the big thing was to sell and market on the pains that people have.
Right.
And again, it starts, you're starting out, the person's upset and they're hurting. You got to start with painting a picture of this is the world that is what it could be like if you did XYZ,
Right.
not I can solve your pain.
Right. That's ultimately the final closing of here's how we're going to solve the pain points that you have.
Yep.
But you start on relationship.
Yep. Yep.
Let's get to know each other and figure out, and then through that discovery, you're uncovering what pains,
Mhm.
and then through that you're figuring out, okay, so here's how I might be able to solve some of these pain points and problems if you are the right solution.
Yep.
Because I am so over that everybody thinks that their solution is the perfect solution for everybody.
Oh yeah. It's not. What I do is not perfect for everyone.
Right.
And what I do is not the same as what another mentor would
Right.
do either, because we all just come from our own place
Yep.
of gift. But anyways, and yeah, I'm sure we could go on for hours about
Yep.
silly things that salespeople have done.
I know I could. I absolutely.
Mhm.
I've got stories that would last forever. But Laura, before we wrap up, I want to give you your shameless 30-second pitch.
Well, hooray. I would love to help build your roadmap out there in podcast land. I would be very happy to give you an hour of my time for complimentary, free, whatever we're saying these days that works. But to sit and listen to what you've tried and where you are and where you want to go, and maybe give you some really great tips on how to help with that. And no, and I won't sell to you if at the end of the call you go, thanks for the tips, see you later. That's good. So
Awesome.
that's me. Yep.
And you can reach or you can find Laura at her website at topfloormentoring.com or on LinkedIn. Those two places. And would you like to provide your email?
Sure. It's Laura at Top Floor Mentoring.
Excellent. So you can reach out to Laura. Those links will be, or those different avenues to reaching out to her will be listed on the show notes. You can find those on the show notes there. But Laura, I really appreciate this conversation. It's been amazing.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Thank you so much, Leighann. I appreciate it.
Yes.
This podcast is presented by Accelerate Growth 45, your one-stop shop for business growth. Stop running your business like an operator, delaying wealth creation, and sacrificing your time. Instead, focus on building a valuable business asset, creating lasting wealth, and reclaiming the time you deserve. Accelerate your growth today and visit us at accelerategrowth45.com.
Thanks for joining us for Love Your Sales. For more, connect with Leighann on LinkedIn and be sure to subscribe to the show and leave us a rating and review. We'd love to hear what you think. Looking for a way to take your sales process to the next level? Visit us at loveyoursales.com to find out more about how Leighann can take your organization to new revenue heights. And be sure to join us next time for more great ways to love your customers so they love your sales.